Hi, I'm Ron Bateman, the Sheriff of Anne Arundel County. Welcome to your Anne Arundel's Most Wanted program, a program where we showcase wanted criminals, highlight open cases, and look to you for tips. You, concerned citizens, that share my same goal, and that's keeping our communities safe. You'd be proud to know that your calls have allowed us to put handcuffs on thousands of criminals. So sit back, set your DVR, or grab a pen and paper, and help do your part in catching criminals. You're watching Anne Arundel's Most Wanted. Welcome to the show, folks. I was just told that this is our 100th show, and we are taping it at the Annapolis Police Department in downtown Annapolis. And, of course, you recognize my first guest, Corporal Amy Megath from the Annapolis Police Department. Welcome to the show, Amy.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Who'd you bring for us?
I've got 4 today. The first one is Char Michion Branch. His date of birth is October 21st, 1966. He's a black male, 6 feet tall, weighing 210 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 309 Long Meadow Way in Arnold, and he has 2 open warrants, each for second-degree assault and reckless endangerment. These warrants stem from 2 domestic-related assault incidents that occurred on July 6th and July 7th of 2014. On July 6th at 9:47 p.m., officers responded to an apartment in the 1100 block of Madison Street for a domestic assault. The victim reported that her husband, Char Branch, grabbed her from behind and placed his forearm around her neck. He held her in that position for several minutes and would not let her go. The victim was able to break free and called the police. Branch left the area before officers arrived. The next morning, Branch returned and assaulted the victim again. This time, Branch strangled her by placing his hands around her neck and shook her. He slapped her and punched her in the face and then left the area. Officers obtained these arrest warrants for Branch. The second subject we have is Joseph Neal Martin. His date of birth is June 28th of 1989. He's a white male, 5 foot 8 inches tall, weighing 235 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. He has tattoos on his hands that read "Self-Made" and "Lost Souls." His last known address is 494 Keith Road in Lothian. He has 1 open warrant for conspiracy to commit theft less than $1,000 and theft less than $1,000. This warrant stems from an incident on March 17, 2015. At 1 p.m., Annapolis officers responded to Kohl's, located at 260 Old Solomon's Island Road, for a report of a theft. Store security told officers that they saw Joseph Martin enter the store with a woman. The 2 took electronic items into a fitting room. Then Martin stood in front of the fitting room as a lookout while the woman concealed the items. The 2 left the store with the items concealed and without paying for them. Store security confronted the parties about the shoplifting, and Martin and the woman left in a vehicle. Martin was able to be identified with the assistance from another Kohl's store security personnel. This warrant was issued for Martin's arrest. The third subject we have is Keith Leon Parker. His nickname is Giza. His date of birth is September 26, 1969. He's a black male, 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing 255 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 701 Glenwood Street, apartment 304 in Annapolis, and he has a warrant for possession of CDS, not marijuana. On September 21st of 2015, an Annapolis police officer made a traffic stop on Taylor Avenue. Parker was a passenger in the vehicle. The driver of the vehicle consented for the vehicle to be searched. Parker stepped out of the vehicle, and the officer located a straw with white residue under the passenger seat. Straws like this can be used to inhale heroin, so the officer field tested the white residue, and it field tested positive for heroin. Parker was placed under arrest, and when he was searched, the officer located a sandwich bag in the folds of his stomach. The bag contained folded dollar bills, which had a brown residue. This residue also field tested positive for heroin. Parker had to be transported to Anne Arundel Medical Center for a medical issue before he was charged, and the officer obtained this warrant for his arrest. And the fourth subject is Ryan Jerome Sims, Jr. His date of birth is June 16, 1983. He's a black male, 6 foot 1 inches tall, weighing 170 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He has tattoos on his right and left arms, and his last known address is 411 Hilltop Lane in Annapolis. He has 2 warrants. One is for first, third, and fourth degree burglary and theft less than $1,000. The other warrant is for armed robbery, home invasion, first and second degree assault, third and fourth degree burglary, and theft less than $100. The first warrant stems from a burglary that occurred on May 9th, 2014 in the 1100 block of Madison Street. Sims broke into an apartment and stole numerous items, including a blank money order. Through investigation, our detectives were able to link Sims to the stolen money order. The second warrant stems from a home invasion robbery that occurred on November 12, 2014, in the 900 block of Central Street. Sims and an accomplice entered an unlocked home and confronted one of the male residents. Sims demanded property from the victim, and then the victim was stunned with a taser and knocked to the ground. The victim was then held at knife point while Sims searched the home. The victim's cell phone, a knife, and some money were stolen from the home.
Very good. You know the drill, folks. You know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Instead, call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. Keep those calls coming in, folks. Your tips are definitely paying off. Amy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce our next guest, Detective Sergeant Jimmy DeLay from the Maryland State Police, Glen Burnie Barracks. Welcome back to the show, Jimmy.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Who'd you bring for us?
I have 3 for you today. The first subject is Wesley Apadu. He's a 23-year-old Middle Eastern male with a date of birth of October 25th, 1991. He's 6 foot tall, weighs approximately 200 pounds. Last known address of 841 Chestnut Tree Drive in Annapolis. On Tuesday, March 17th of this year at approximately 11:45 p.m., a uniformed trooper was dispatched to Bay Meadows Lane in Queen Anne's County for the report of a suspicious vehicle revving its engine in the roadway, which caused numerous residents to be awakened. Upon arrival, the trooper observed a blue Subaru Impreza. The trooper observed a male who was later identified through his Maryland license as Wesley Apadu standing at the rear of the vehicle urinating. Apadu freely and openly stated he was drunk but was not driving. The trooper detected the odor of an alcoholic beverage on his breath and person. He was slurring his speech, and his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. He stumbled side to side and leaned on his vehicles numerous times for support. The trooper requested Apadu perform field sobriety. He performed poorly on all tests given and was arrested for DUI. Witness statements were taken from the neighbors who were disturbed in 3 separate homes by Apadu revving his engine. One resident observed Apadu operating the vehicle, then exit the vehicle. They also stated that he was the sole occupant and was behind the wheel. He became very irate while being placed in the patrol vehicle. Apadu began repeatedly spitting out the open passenger door of the vehicle in the area of the trooper. The trooper instructed him to stop. Apadu then spit on the patrol vehicle. He placed his feet on the dash of the vehicle, leaving scuff marks. While en route to the barrack, Apadu continued to be uncooperative. Upon initially arriving at the barrack, Apadu urinated in his pants while in the cell and also spit on the cell floor numerous times. He was uncooperative during his attempts to give a breath sample and ultimately refused to test. Apadu failed to appear for court on September 9th of this year and has an active bench warrant for the DUI. The second subject I have for you today is Taryn Giovanni McCrae. He's a 22-year-old black male with a birthday of November 27th, 1992, 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighs approximately 135 pounds. Last known address of 8181 Edge Rockway in Laurel, Maryland. On May 28th of 2015, at approximately 2:30 a.m., a uniformed trooper conducted a traffic stop on a black Pontiac Bonneville bearing Maryland registration for crossing over the dashed white lines between lanes 2 and 3. Upon contact with the driver, he identified himself as Taryn McCrae. McCrae advised he was on the way home from a hospital. McCrae advised that the vehicle was unregistered, uninsured, and the plates were from another vehicle. He stated he received the plates from his girlfriend. A check revealed that McCrae had an active warrant through Howard County Police for violation of probation. McCrae also did not have a valid license through Washington, D.C. McCrae was arrested for the warrant and transported to Howard County Detention Center for further processing. The trooper made contact with the owners of the registration plate and the sticker. Both advised the items were stolen. The trooper then responded to the detention center and charged McCrae with the theft of those items. McCrae failed to appear for court on September 23rd of this year and has 2 open warrants for the theft. The third and last I have for you today is Dondrea Wallace. She's a 27-year-old black female with a birth date of January 20th, 1988, 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighs approximately 180 pounds. Last known address of 7541 Knoll Acres Road, Hanover, Maryland. On March 12, 2014, Wallace appeared before Judge Brown in Howard County District Court on a charge of DUI which occurred in July of 13. She was given probation before judgment and placed on 18 months probation. Conditions of probation included refraining from driving after consuming alcohol. On August 24, 2015, she was again arrested and charged with DUI while transporting a minor and attempting to circumvent an interlock system. A bench warrant was issued for Wallace on September 14th of this year.
Outstanding. You know the drill, folks. I sound like a broken record every single month, but you have been listening. If you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals, do not approach them. Instead, call that number, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. Jimmy, thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce the new Public Information Officer from the Anne Arundel County Police Department, Corporal Jackie Davis. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you, Sheriff.
This is going to be a neat job. You'll really enjoy it. Now, Jackie just got reassigned from the Criminal Investigation Division, so now she's the PIO working out of the Chief's office. So with that, who'd you bring for us?
All right. The first gentleman I brought is Elazar Rashad Henson. Mr. Henson's date of birth is September 16th, 1981. He's 5'9" and 180 pounds. Elazar Rashad Henson, whose 2008 sex offense conviction for attempted lewd and lascivious battery in Lee County, Florida, originated from a To Catch a Predator sting in Fort Myers, Florida in April of 2006. Mr. Henson moved to Maryland and began registering in March of 2009. He was charged with failing to register in January of 2011 and convicted for the offense in June of 2011. He was charged in June of 2012 for another registration violation and convicted for the offense in October of 2012. In November 2012, the Santa Clara County, California Sheriff's Office advised Mr. Henson was located in their jurisdiction. He never advised of his move and was again charged with a registration violation. The Anne Arundel County State's Attorney's Office agreed to extradite him from California, and he was held in our detention center until his court hearing in March of 2013, which led to another conviction. Mr. Henson was again charged with another registration violation in June of 2013. He disappeared for over 8 months until the warrant was served in February 2014. He was convicted for the offense, his fourth registration violation, in May of 2014. He was charged in November of 2014 for another registration violation, registering a false address, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Elazar has warrants for registry violation and failures to appear. We are unsure of his whereabouts and don't know if he is still local or elsewhere in the country. The second person we have today is Davis George Clark. Mr. Clark's date of birth is May 31st, 1963. He is approximately 6 feet 2 inches tall and 200 pounds. His last known address was 2133 Walbrook Avenue in Baltimore. On September 1st, 2015, at approximately 5:45 in the morning, officers responded to Christie's Latin Bakery and Cafe in Glen Burnie for the report of a burglary. The front window was broken and money was stolen from inside the register. Detectives reviewed the video surveillance and observed a suspect wearing a red baseball hat with a P on it, plaid shorts, and multicolored shoes. A few hours later, detectives found the suspect, identified as Davis George Clark, within a few blocks of the burglary, wearing the same clothing, hat included, that he wore during the crime. Davis George Clark was supposed to speak with detectives in reference to this, but never responded. Mr. Clark currently has an active warrant for the first-degree burglary at Christie's Latin Bakery. And last but not least, we have Sabrina Ashley Schindler. Ms. Schindler's date of birth is January 9th, 1995. She is 5 feet 2 inches tall and 115 pounds. Her last known address is 8370 Elm Road in Millersville. On September 5th, 2015, Northern District officers responded to an address in Brooklyn for a burglary to a residence. The homeowner advised officers that she noticed small wooden dolls had been knocked off her windowsill. She also observed another window open that she knew she had closed prior to leaving. Upon further investigation, the homeowner discovered that her house had been burglarized and over $10,000 in jewelry had been stolen. The homeowner described the jewelry to the officers, who were able to recover several of the items from a local pawn shop. Pawn shop records showed Sabrina Ashley Schindler as the person who sold the stolen jewelry. Sabrina has an active warrant for this burglary and other theft-related charges.
Very good. Folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Call that number, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. Outstanding job. Outstanding job.
Thank you, sir.
And now for those subjects wanted by the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. Let's see, our first one's going to be Jairus Humberto Cruz Velasquez. This subject is wanted for indecent exposure and multiple child porn charges. On October 6, 2015, County Police received a call from a parent concerning contact that occurred between a 22-year-old male, Cruz Velasquez, and their 13-year-old daughter. The two met at a family party. He added her as a friend on Facebook shortly after, and they began chatting through Facebook Messenger. Seems harmless enough. Unfortunately, the interaction turned to a sexual nature. Explicit photographs were sent, and Cruz Velasquez continued sending messages propositioning the minor. So today, we are looking for Jairus Humberto Cruz Velasquez, who is a 22-year-old white male. The date of birth of May 6, 1993. He's 5'9" tall, weighs 140 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 526 Monroe Circle in Glen Burnie. And our next subject will be James Edward Gales, Jr. Gales is wanted for violating his probation for a prior burglary conviction. He was incarcerated and released during September of 2014 to a drug alcohol treatment program. The requirement, successfully complete the program. That didn't happen. So on August 24th of this year, Gales Jr. failed to report for a meeting with his probation agent. The next day, county police and paramedics responded for an overdose call. Gales Jr. was treated and evidence related to suspected heroin use was collected at the scene. In sum, Gale has a new bench warrant, and we need your help tracking him down. So today, we're looking for James Edward Gales Jr. He's a 35-year-old black male with a date of birth, February 29th, 1980. He's 5'10" tall, weighs 200 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes, and his last known address, 6530 Harrison Avenue in Linthicum. He may be staying with family on Hendricks Shortcut Road in Conway, South Carolina. And our next subject is going to be Maurice Antonio Baldwin. Baldwin violated the terms of his probation for an underlying armed robbery, assault with a dangerous weapon, and reckless endangerment case. He last reported to his probation agent on December 17, 2014, and has failed to adhere since. With 5 years incarceration hanging over him, you would think he would be motivated to comply. Again. So here's where you come in. Today we're looking for Maurice Antonio Baldwin, who's a 30-year-old black male with a date of birth of September the 13th, 1985. He's 5'10" tall, weighs 155 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. And his last known address is 471 Kenilworth Court in lovely Glen Burnie. And our last subject will be Harry William Coons. This subject is wanted on 5 counts of from three different counties. So let's get into them. Howard County wants Busy B. Coons for theft under $1,000. Baltimore County for CDS-related charges. Anne Arundel's warrants are for failing to comply with a peace order, assault, and CDS possession. Over the last 15 months, he has been a busy man. So today, we need your help tracking him down and holding him accountable. Today, we are looking for Harry William Coons, who's a 33-year-old white male with a date of birth of March the 19th, 1982. He's 5'8" tall, weighs 200 pounds, has blonde hair and blue eyes. And his last known address is 691 Willoughby Run in Pasadena. Now you know the drill, folks. You know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Call that number, 410-222-1490 or 911 with your tips 24 hours a day. We'll definitely send someone out to check out your leads. And your tips are definitely paying off, so keep them coming in. So as I close, I want to thank a few people who allow this show to happen every single month. The most important man behind that camera, Mr. Dale Boyer. From my office, Lieutenant Jennifer Gilbert Duran. I also want to thank our county executive, Mr. Steve Shue. And I also want to send out a special thanks to the Chief of Police from the Annapolis Police Department who allowed us to use his facility today, Chief Mike Pristu. Also want to thank my friend, Chief Tim Altamore from the Anne Arundel County Police and Superintendent from the Maryland State Police, Mr. Bill Palazzi. Remember, folks, let's keep Anne Arundel County safe. I'm Sheriff Ron Bateman. We'll see you next time on Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.